But Bills firing Sean McDermott yesterday, or today, I should say, after 9 years on the job. Patrick, this is one of those ones that feels interesting to me for a lot of different reasons. I think chief among them is it just feels like a program that just needs a shakeup and just needs a different voice, and that's the reason why he's gone. What do you make of the fact that the Buffalo Bills now join the ranks of a franchise with no coach?
I'm going to disagree on that because this one, in my mind, feels a lot like the James Franklin situation, where you're just prematurely firing someone just to fire someone.
Really?
And
so
I think, I think the fact that Terry Pegula, the owner of the Buffalo Bills, gave Brandon Beane, the general manager, a promotion up to president makes zero sense in my mind, because if you take a look at that Buffalo roster here this year, that was Josh Allen, James Cook, and who? I mean, when Khalil Shakir is your only wide receiver truly on offense, you have Keon Coleman, who can't even make it to practice on time and can't keep his head straight. You've got Brandon Cooks, who, I love Brandon Cooks.
Same.
But he's over the hump in my opinion. I think he is probably nearing the end of his career. And you could talk all you want about the controversial interception. I don't know how you can make that call in that situation there late in the game. I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can justify that, but I also don't know how you can justify firing Sean McDermott, who the team that was put out on the field this year was not his fault by any means. If I was the owner, I would have fired Brandon Beane before I would have fired Sean McDermott. He's the one that puts the team on the field. And when you take a look at that roster, again, there was no Mahomes in the playoffs this year. There was no Burrow in the playoffs this year.
No Lamar.
Those two, no Lamar. Well, I would say no Lamar, but I mean, Josh Allen's had Lamar's number in the playoffs in the last few years. But when you talk about Mahomes and Burrow, two guys that have handed Josh Allen 6 playoff losses, because now you look at Bo Nix, and you also look at, I believe Deshaun Watson was the first when he was still at Houston. Those guys weren't in the playoffs, but you didn't add anybody at all to help give Josh Allen some weapons to be able to beat the Broncos in the AFC divisional. And then what do? You just go and fire your head coach. I mean, it's nuts.
I don't know. I thought that, fairly or unfairly, I thought it might be unfair, and it might actually speak to your point. It felt like this postseason was going to be, if the Bills don't make it to at least the Super Bowl, they were going to fire Sean McDermott, because, like you said, with no Patrick Mahomes, and I'm adding Lamar in there, even though, as you mentioned, Josh has had Lamar's number, but the top tier quarterbacks in the league were not in the playoffs. It felt like the runway was wide open, but it also felt like a really tough ask for the number 6 seed, because obviously they didn't win the division because of the Patriots, for the 6 seed to go in and rattle off 3-4 straight wins to be able to get there. But that said, you look at the Bills so far this season, and they stumbled even in the regular season. And some of that, I agree with you. I think a lot of that is based on the fact that this roster just was not ready to compete.
It was not a playoff roster by any means, but because of Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, the two of them got them into this spot. And I will say this. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
The Bills were long, long overdue for a game where Allen sold them. I'm going to just be honest, because he bailed them out so many other times. I'm talking about that infamous one in Kansas City where it went back and forth, the 13 seconds. The defense has historically sold Josh Allen in the playoffs so many times. So, I mean, for him to come out and have one of his worst games of his career, it just felt long overdue. And, I mean, I just don't know, though, if firing Sean McDermott is the right move, because who are you going to get now?
That's the thing.
I mean, Harbaugh's off the board. He's officially signed with New York. Stefanski just signed, I believe, with Atlanta here recently.
And I wonder if you give either one of those guys truth serum and say, hey, do you wish you would have waited a week?
Yeah, I'm sure they both would.
I think both would.
Because this is easily the best job open in the NFL right now. I mean, how can you justify that the Giants and the Falcons are a better job than the Buffalo Bills are right now? So who do you go out and hire? Because I'm hearing...
I have one name in mind.
Who I would like to hear it.
It's Brian Daboll. And because of his relationship with Josh Allen, if you go back to Daboll's time with Josh Allen at the very beginning of the year, or at the beginning of his tenure, you can make an argument that Daboll kind of cleaned him up, so to speak. Made him obviously not more accurate, but just helped clean off some of the edges. Now, I don't know if the Bills will go there. Obviously, they have a history with one another. It just feels like a logical choice to me, given their history. I don't know if that'll fire up the fan base, but this is the top job that is open.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Josh Allen, you have the reigning MVP. I know he's not going to win this year, but you have the MVP. He'll get some votes this year. You're going into a new building. You're going to a new stadium. I feel like this will obviously be, Billy Beane's. Sorry, not Billy Beane's. Brandon Beane's decision about who the coach would be. I just feel like you're starting over in a place that feels like it's as close to ready for a championship. They got to get this one right, though. You cannot get this one wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like I know Dable can basically thank Josh Allen for getting him that job in East Rutherford. I mean, there's no question about that. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know how you can sell that to your fan base, though, that Brian Dable's a better head coach than Sean McDermott is. And I know that from what I've seen, the Bills fan base is about 75% on what are we doing? We fired the wrong guy on. And about 25% being, yay, finally we can move on from McDermott. So I don't know, because now I think you have to go with an offensive-minded coach. Obviously, Sean McDermott came over from Carolina after he led the Panthers to Super Bowl 50, which that feels like a distant memory.
It does.
Now you have to go with an offensive mind for Josh Allen. And I think if you're Brandon Beane, you got the promotion, but now it's really on you to get these next few years right, because
you gotta get it right.
You cannot waste the prime of Josh Allen, because right now he's looking like the next Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate, because this is a Buffalo fan base that is just they are dying for some success.
Yeah.
But right now it feels like Josh Allen is the next Jim Kelly, and the Buffalo Bills, I'm going to say it, are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. They can make the playoffs, but tell me, what have the Bills done that the Cowboys haven't? You won one more game. Congrats. You still have 0 AFC championship wins.
Yep.
You haven't made the Super Bowl. You lost 4 straight Super Bowls back in the 90s. What are you doing?
Right. And at least in those situations, they won the AFC to get to that point. This year, haven't even won the AFC to get to that point. Josh Allen, after the game, very emotional. Very emotional press conference. He talked afterwards. I saw some of the players in the locker room. They were emotional as well. Josh Allen, after the game before losing his head coach.
I feel like I let my teammates down tonight. Missed opportunities throughout the game. It's been a long season. I hate how it ended, and it's going to stick with me for a long time. Can't win with 5 turnovers. I fumbled twice, threw 2 picks. When you shoot yourself in the foot like that, you don't deserve to win football games.
With Josh Allen, they talk about the roller coaster, how he's good and he's bad. Ultimately, do you see him being able to get better from this, or is this the start of maybe something more concerning for a Bills fan?
I don't know yet, because first you have to nail this hire. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
You have to nail this hire, and in my mind, it has to be an offensive coach, because you look at what Joe Brady did this year. The Bills had the number 1 rushing game in the NFL. The passing game, I believe, was 13th. So when you combine the two, I believe they had the 4th best offense. I don't know also if this was a firing because, Buffalo saw that Joe Brady was getting interest elsewhere, and they were like, no, we want to keep him in-house, so we're just going to promote him and then make Dable the OC. I could see that. And who are you going to get as DC? Maybe Brian Flores. I wouldn't mind that. So I mean, all I got to say is you got to nail this hire.
You got to. Absolutely have to. And the time is ticking. Some of these coaches, as you mentioned, Jim Harbaugh's now off the board. John Harbaugh's now off the board. You also have Kevin Stefanski now off the board. 2 really, really good coaches